All right. Thank you for staying with Daybreak. The conversation was continuing even during the break, but we're just wrapping up and getting into the final moments of it. I want to bring up a situation that you must have seen it online. There was a back and forth between the governor of Nairobi, Mike Sonko, and woman representative Sonko-Passaris during the Madaraka Day celebrations. In fact, she even staged a walkout. And after that, those subsequent recordings that came out. Of course, they've not been verified, but it's alleged that it was a leaked audio. And I want to start from you, Honorable Tiende. What did you make of that standoff?
I think it's unfortunate. First, citizens elect leaders to work for them and to work together, irrespective of the party. When you find yourself having elected governor and women rep, then you must work for the people together. So when you then have that kind of situation where leaders are trading barbs, it's unfortunate. Secondly, it is particularly unfortunate that it's coming on a day of national celebration. You know, when instead of, if it happened somewhere in private and all that, I think it would be reasonable. But singularly, the kind of words that I think the governor used were quite unfortunate.
And after that, there was a subsequent recording that alleged that the ODM leader was waiting for people to come in with money. In fact, the clip says, kila mtu anakuja na 1 million.
Well, no,
500,000. Well, 1 million. In the name of ODM leader Raila Odinga.
Well, first of all,
it's not been verified, but that is the clip recording that came out.
Well, first of all, I think that's a question that only the women rep can answer, because it was not a recording of the ODM leader saying that people are coming. It's a recording alleging that somebody is alleging that they were seeking money to take somewhere. So whether they were trying to obtain by false pretenses, only they can respond to. But I think what's more important on it, I think it reveals something else. I think the governor of Nairobi is given to very interesting and unfortunate habits. I think he is alleged to have recorded virtually everywhere. I think there was a time of some recording of YT2. So when as a leader, people get to fear talking to you because anything you share will be recorded. It's a very bad trait.
Honorable Kuria, what do you make of this whole standoff?
I think I'm a rural boy, so matters city are perplexing. I read them to the likes of Sifuna at some point, you know. There will be people overwhelmingly voted for Mike Sonko. So they got a package. I mean, people should not complain. You know, he got one of the highest, you know.
800,000.
800,000 votes. That's what they deserve. Let them live with it.
All right, Honorable Kosita.
Well, I think it was unfortunate that the two leaders had a disagreement in public. And I think when you're dealing with a leader whom you know the character, then one of you should actually act a bit sober. But you should not both try and outdo each other in public. So I think in this point, one of them should have gone down, and in this case, the women rep should have actually, you know, in politics, as we always say, it's not a church function where there is order. It's a lot of disorder and a lot of different kind of characters.
What do you mean one of them should have gone down?
I want to say the women rep should have toned down in
Why
terms
not
of
the governor?
Well, the governor was the last to speak.
The governor was the one pushing.
Yes, the governor was the one pushing, but the women rep should have just sat in.
Remarks.
She should have sat in, and but you see, at that time, the emotions are very high. So the right thing that came to her mind was to walk out.
Many would say
but
that is a very male chauvinistic approach.
Let us talk about the release of the tape. You see, this tape about Raila receiving 500,000 or members going with 500,000 is a very serious issue. That is now an issue that should be picked up by ESCC, is an issue that should be investigated. Because if people are bribing to get nomination slots, as the women rep was saying, she was being promised by somebody who was not Raila, a relative of his, that she can be the Nairobi kingpin. So she wanted to go with 1 million. Not 500, because maybe you can now attend and others who are going with 500. And,
we never gave any money.
That story is we need it to be verified, because it's a very serious allegation on somebody who wants to lead this nation and somebody who has stood up and is always loud on the fight against corruption. And we want that name of Raila cleared on those issues of the tape. So I think it's a time to invite the women rep and whoever else was involved in the recording to give a clear picture of the true facts.
First of all, I must very strongly condemn what Honorable Kositani is saying. You know, he's one of the few people in the Tanga wing who I consider very sober. But in this country, in the history of the struggle for women in terms of equality with us, this thing or this notion that somehow the woman is the one that is expected to tone down, I think it is something that has to be condemned. It is a very backward thought. Number two, we have seen increasingly that there is a lot of intolerance in public amongst leaders for views that they don't consider, similar to their own. I myself have been a victim, and I have claimed urged publicly that really, even if you disagree with somebody, you need to disagree respectably. Yeah. And the misbehavior in politics is not even a gender question. It's not about men or women behaving in a certain way. It is us as leaders just recognizing that we have standards that are expected of us. There is a law on leadership and integrity on how we are supposed to carry and conduct ourselves. But especially when these things are directed at women. I personally view women in politics the way we view endangered species in conservation. That there are a few of them in the public space that we have, despite the efforts that we've had to try and grow their numbers, that the numbers are still low. So that if, say, I was disrespected by a woman leader in public, really, as a man, it doesn't take anything away from me, and it doesn't discourage maybe other men from contesting politics. But those few women who are in politics deserve the greatest respect, because we need to encourage. Absolutely. I think that, in my view, I think that the governor should apologize, but knowing the kind of person that he is, he probably will not even see what is wrong with it, and that is his place. It is for the people of Nairobi. It is for the people of Nairobi to judge, because they knew the character that they were electing, and
Trevor, when
they shouldn't reward.
When you hear Sifuna say he has a lot of respect for women, and I think that should be a very serious statement from ODM. The way they have treated Aisha Juma, and want to congratulate her for winning against the ODM in trying to kick her out just because she fathered the handshake to the side that they didn't support. I think that statement he should congratulate Aisha Juma for winning, and they should respect all women.
Honorable Kositani, I think you must make the distinction, because I don't know what he means by mistreating Aisha, because she was subjected to the same law that is, we are all subject to the same law under the Political Parties Act. It is not an ODM law. We are not the ones who drafted it.
Very briefly.
Even when she took us to court, as law-abiding citizens and the people who believe in the rule of law, we will abide by the court order. The court directed that we begin the process afresh, and that is exactly what we're going to do.
Honorable Kure, very briefly.
Again, even before I make my point, is on this issue of if you are in ODM, you are clean. So repent and join ODM. That seems to be come to the sanctuary of the Lord, which is ODM. That seems to be like the message cutting across here. So Aisha Juma now is a pariah, simply because she does not agree with the ODM fraternity. But that's their party. Let me talk about this issue of Sonko-Passaris. And it is very sad the way the words that Governor Sonko used on Sonko-Passaris. But I'm seeing a trend whereby women reps, frustrated at with the fact that they don't have enough latitude to be able to effect their programs, going to governors, and they are confused as whether to beg, to influence, or to demand. I saw it in my county, where my women rep was demanding a rehabilitation program from governor. The constitution is very clear. The women rep has her role, and the governor has his role. And the frustration that Sonko-Passaris is getting in the hands of Mike Sonko is enough proof that this is a useless position which should not be there in our constitution.
All right.
Just two quick clarifications. First of all, Honorable Kositani, Aisha Juma was expelled from ODM not because she's a woman, but because of her own positions and utterances. By her own admission, she had ceased association with the party on which she had run. And as a matter of principle, and I've always said that, if you fundamentally find yourself in that position and you decide that you do not want to be in that formation, then resign, or you are expelled.
It is the law.
And that is the kind of advice I've always given freely, not at a personal level, to the Deputy President. That if he finds that he can no longer work with the President, he should resign. Secondly, just so that you know, for people like us, somebody like me, I did not give anybody any money, and no money was demanded at all of me or of anyone that I know. And so I want to assure my friend Moses Kuria, especially with your presidential ambitions, that if you want to keep on the narrow path of integrity, come to ODM.
All right, gentlemen, we have to leave it there. Honorable Tienda